to panic, or Arsenal are just getting a little bit smarter? We will find out. Welcome on board to Inside Arsenal on Eugene Talks Football. It's Friday. I hope you all have had a good week and you're having a good weekend at the moment. Before we head to the business of the day, do us a favor to subscribe to the channel if you're new, like the video, and hit the notification bell. As you do that, whatever it is that we put out there, you'll be the first to be notified. And also make your comments known in the section there in the comments as the video is uploaded. Here we go. And the headline news for today's show is coming out of the England camp at St. George's Park. It has been reported that England have confirmed that Bukayo Saka has withdrawn from the England squad as a precaution and returned to London Colney at Arsenal for continued rehabilitation from an injury. This is a bit of a concern to me as an Arsenal fan, and of course to all Arsenal fans out there. We all know the part that Bukayo Saka plays in the Arsenal squad. If not the most important player in the Arsenal team, he is definitely one of the most important players in that Arsenal squad as we head into the business end of the season. Now, this is the news that all Arsenal fans would not like to hear. And remember that Bukayo Saka is not the first Arsenal player to have withdrawn from international duty. The first player was Gabriel Magalhaes, and also an important player in the Arsenal squad. But what we know is that before this breaking news, Bukayo Saka was training separately from the other players in the England camp. That was what was reported earlier. But the breaking news yesterday is that he has withdrawn from the England training camp and returned to London Colney to continue rehabilitation from a slightly niggling injury. But reports have also emerged that it's nothing to worry about, as it's just a precaution in order to keep him fit for the games that are coming up very thick and fast. And these are important games. Remember, Arsenal is fighting for the title on two fronts, including the Premier League and the Champions League. And we cannot afford to lose any of our players to injury, bearing in mind that the games on international duty are just friendlies, including Gabriel Magalhaes games as well. And coincidentally, they are playing against each other in a friendly game. Listen, people, football has transcended into a new level where it is no longer, I'm sorry to say this, but I believe it's going to be a discussion for another day. Football is no longer a thing that has to be for the love of the game. Football, it's a cabal thing where people are, really involved in the monetary aspect of it. They want to keep making more money. Otherwise, what's the essence of this game? England have qualified for the Euros already. And what is the essence of Brazil coming to London to train for a friendly game against England? I know there have been friendly games between these nations in the past, but come on, football is something else. But like I said before, it's a discussion for another day. So the worry right now is that Bukayo Saka, an integral part of the England setup, has withdrawn from the squad in training at St. George's Park and returned to Arsenal to continue his rehabilitation. Anyway, we know Arsenal's strategy in recent past that they always do not want to give a clear information about the players when there is an issue like this. They prefer to keep it a secret and see what happens when the games begin. But as fans who are not really informed of the situation, there's always that bit of worry whenever we get such news. Remember, we cannot afford to lose Saka and Gabriel to injuries at the moment. Remember that some of our French players only recently returned from injury and they're not fully fit yet. So to have two important members of the team to also be involved in injuries is a bit of worry. But so at the moment, we do not know the extent of Bukayo Saka's injury, neither that of Gabriel Magalhaes, but it is reported clearly that it is nothing to worry about. So if I'm being selfish, I will say I'm a little bit happy that they've withdrawn from their national teams, but I'm hoping that it is not something serious, that it's just a precaution. Maybe there's a conversation between the manager, the England coach Gareth Southgate, and the Arsenal hierarchy to say, listen, these are international friendlies. There's nothing really at stake. We are fighting for the title. We're challenging. We have a massive project on our hands. Let these players just be relieved from international duty in order not to have an overload. So in order to keep them fit and fresh for the games. But if I want to talk on that, if I want to dwell on this to keep my mind at rest, what about other players like Phil Foden and John Stones, Kyle Walker? They are also involved in the title challenge. You would argue that, okay, they've been there, they've done that, they don't really. You never can say, you can't say that, because they are professionals. No matter how much titles they've won in the past, if there's a title at stake and they're in it, they're going to give it their all. So it's just a mixed feeling at the moment as to what is happening to these players. But all we can do is hope and pray that it is nothing serious, and come 31st of March, they will be available to play against Manchester City, which is a very important and crucial game. We cannot afford to lose that game if we really want to win the league. So that's the headline story there, that Bukayo Saka has withdrawn from the England squad as a precaution. That is the word used there, as a precaution from an injury, in order to go back to England, to Arsenal, to continue building his fitness ahead of the vital games that are coming up this season still, as we're going close to the business end of the season. Yes, and then another news out there is that Thomas Partey and Takehiro Tomiyasu featured for Arsenal in a behind closed door game between QPR. It's a friendly game, to build Thomas Partey and Tomiyasu just recently returned from injury, and they need game time, they need minutes to keep building their fitness. You cannot risk these players, as they've just returned from injury, in competitive games. So these games, these friendly games, is part of the games that will give them minutes in order to build their fitness, build their confidence, give them game time to keep in shape for the games that are coming up. And that game ended 4-0 in favor of QPR. Is it something that we should be worried about? I don't really know. QPR, they are a championship team. I believe that they fielded their best 11. They were competitive. Takehiro Tomiyasu and Thomas Partey were the only senior members of the Arsenal squad involved in that particular one. So for me personally, I don't think it's something that I should be worried about. Though it ended 4-0, it's not a good result, but come on, it's just a build-up game. So I don't think that they'll put it all out there in order to try to get a result. So that is it. Thomas Partey and Tomiyasu featured in a behind closed door game for Arsenal against QPR, which ended 4-0 in favor of the championship side QPR. And a bit of a transfer story that is emerging from an outlet out there in Spain, according to Sports. Arsenal are closely monitoring Rodrigo of Real Madrid. Rodrigo is 23 years of age. What a player he is, a quality player, Brazilian. Remember that definitely it's a no-brainer. Kylian Mbappe will become a Real Madrid player next summer. All negotiations are all but done. No other club is in talks with Kylian Mbappe for his signing other than Real Madrid. He has been in direct contact with the Real Madrid president Florentino Perez. Kylian Mbappe is Real Madrid bound. And obviously, if eventually Real Madrid signs Kylian Mbappe, be very sure that there are players, important key players that will be leaving as well. For not just players like Toni Kroos or Luka Modric, because these players are already at the end of their career. These are not, I'm talking about players that are important in the mode of Rodrigo. They will not remain there because there are lots of quality players that are there already. Vinicius Junior, Jude Bellingham, Adagule, these young players who are there. To have Kylian Mbappe added to that squad, definitely to balance their books and the financial fair play policy. There are players who they will have to sacrifice. So there are lots of clubs that are looking at Rodrigo, and Arsenal definitely is one of those clubs. Let's talk a bit about Rodrigo's stats. He has played 29 games in La Liga. He has scored 8 goals and had 5 assists. He's had 21 goal contribution across all competitions. This is a player that I personally would love to see at the Arsenal, but believe me, it's not going to be an easy thing to lure him to Arsenal, but it depends on the how genuine this story is. For me, I'm taking it with a pinch of salt. It's not something concrete. It's just from a media outlet in Spain named Sport. You can go there and get the details on that particular one. He's 23 years of age, Brazilian. He performs brilliantly in the national team. He also performs really well for Real Madrid as well. And he's a very key player for both Real Madrid and Brazil. He can play at the right and also at the left wing. He's a versatile player, quality player, a joy to watch. So Arsenal is closely monitoring his situation at Real Madrid. Yeah, that's the transfer news that is coming out in the last couple of hours. Now, players on international duty, remember it's the international break, and Arsenal players are involved in international duty as well. Not just Gabriel and Bukayo Saka who have pulled out. There are also Arsenal players who are involved in international duty. Games that were played yesterday that involved Arsenal players. Jakub Kiwior played 90 minutes for Poland as they made light work of Estonia. The game ended 5-1 in favor of Poland. That's Euro 2024 qualifier playoffs. So definitely Poland had the better of Estonia there, and Jakub Kiwior played 90 minutes of the game. Then Alexander Zinchenko also played 75 minutes for Ukraine as they beat Bosnia Herzegovina away from home 2-1. It ended. Alexander Zinchenko played 75 minutes, and of course, he played in the midfield. You know, recently he has been playing the midfield role for Ukraine. So he featured, he played just 75 minutes as they defeated Bosnia Herzegovina 2-1. So that's the story there for today. So let me know what you think about Bukayo Saka's situation. Uh, is this something that we should be worried about? Is this something that we should be concerned, including Gabriel as well? As for me, I don't know why these things are coming up at this time, and it will be difficult to think that it's a coincidence that players are pulling out of international duty now that we have very important games come towards the business end of the season. I would want to lean towards that part of believing that it couldn't have been a coincidence, that it's a strategy by the Arsenal. But like I said, we do not know. We just have to observe and see what happens in the coming days or weeks. And of course, also wish Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Magalhaes speedy recovery, and also wish the likes of Timber, Thomas Partey, Tomiyasu speedy recovery to full from their injuries and to full fitness, as we need all our players back fit, thick and span for the business end of the season, as we are fighting on two fronts this season, the Champions League and the Premier League, and hopefully we will get it over the line, whether it's for the EPL or the Champions League or both. It's possible. So that's the news out there. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Click the like button, hit the notification bell, and let me know what your thoughts are. I'll see you again. Peace.